Can everyone see my screen?
Perfect, Emma. Thank you.
Great. Okay. So first I'll start off with introducing myself. So my name is Emma and I'm the campus recruitment consultant here at Thornton. So I graduated from college in May. I studied in DCU. I studied Bachelor of Business Studies. And then I joined Thornton in June as a recruitment administrator. And then in January, I stepped into the campus recruiter role. So today I'm just going to give you a bit of an overview into Thornton itself, and my colleagues from each of their relevant service lines will give you a better insight into what exactly they do and what makes their team different, because they'll have better knowledge of that exactly than I would. So I'll start with some fun facts about us. So we have an international presence with over 50,000 people in 140 countries. So as Shane mentioned there, we actually have 8 office locations. I need to update my little map. This only happened recently, but as well as having Dublin, Kildare, Cork, Limerick, Galway, Longford and Belfast, we now also have the Isle of Man, which is part of us. So we have over 50 partners and 40 nationalities, so we are an extremely diverse team. So at Thornton, we have 5 main service lines, but within each service line there is sub-service lines, but my colleagues will tell you more about that in detail. So the main service lines we have are audit and assurance, tax and legal services, financial services advisory, and financial accounting and advisory services. So at the end of the presentation, I'll give you more of an insight into our summer internship program and the offering. But now I'd like to pass you on to Sarah Bradley, who is a director in our financial services audit department.
Thanks very much. So as mentioned, my name is Sarah. I am a director on the financial services audit team. I suppose I started, I'm just going to give a little bit of a background to me. I do have an affinity for DKIT. I started in my career in Thornton back in 2008, and I joined from college, and I went to college in Dundalk. So I do remember people coming in and speaking to us in person, which was nice, and it did kind of prompt me to apply for Thornton, and here I am 14 odd years later. So I'm delighted to be kind of back talking to you. Our national audit team is, as it says, it is national. We do have an office. We have an audit team in all of our offices, and again, similar enough to the front map, we do need to bring in the Isle of Man, and I think our total number of employees, we're up close to 600 now. There was a huge recruitment drive towards the end of last year. We hired a lot of international hires, and we also increased our graduate numbers as well. So in terms of the different subsectors within the audit team, we have corporate audit, financial services, and we have our financial statement prep team and our outsourcing team, and then we also do other assurance engagements. And I suppose if I talk a little bit about where I sit, so I sit on the financial services team, and a lot of people are kind of like, what is that? It is a little bit different in that a lot of my clients are, again, they're internationally focused, but they would be funds, special purpose vehicles. We have our banking and our insurance team sit under financial services. We are the largest auditor for credit unions in the country, and really what we do is go into niche areas and try and become the kind of number 1 or number 2 in that area. So credit unions is one, insurance is now a focus, and just generally the financial services team has been a focus over the last number of years. We do on my portfolio, as well as I have quite a lot of aircraft leasing, which is huge in Ireland at the moment, and I have a small bit of fintech as well, so the kind of cryptocurrency funds and stuff. So it's very, no 2 jobs are the same, which is great, and the range of types of clients and types of structures that you would be exposed to is just vast. And then also with the international presence, because a lot of our clients are global, I would work very closely with our New York office, our UK team, our Cayman team. I actually on a large aviation client, I deal directly with our Russian team as well. So again, it's it's very interesting in terms of the type of people that you're involved with all of the time, and just meeting new people and getting other expertise in different areas. So the next slide, I think, goes through a little bit about our kind of testimonials and what makes our audit team different. And this is a lovely picture of Guillermo. He's on my team, actually. And I think it is a kind of, around working with the global and listed organizations. And, you do gain experience from numerous industries. And here we're kind of saying, from financial services to hospitality. But I suppose whether you sit in corporate audit or whether you sit in financial services, you're not kind of pigeonholed into one particular area. Obviously we do have specialisms. The insurance team is quite specialized, the banking team is quite specialized. However, when you come in, particularly as an intern or as a graduate, you can move within teams. So it's not like you would be doing the same thing all of the time, which I think really adds to the depth of experience that you do get with Grant Thornton. And in terms of working on client site and gaining essential operational skills that you can use throughout your career. So I suppose one of the things that do make us a little bit different in that we're very people focused, and it's important that our clients feel that whether they pick up the phone and talk to a graduate or whether they talk to the partner, that it doesn't really matter, that we're all trained, and we all give that exceptional service. So from, again, very early on in my career, I was given that sort of that rope in terms of dealing directly with the client, obviously having your manager there as support, but having those conversations, and it just builds your network and your communication skills very, very early on, and it really does add to the overall experience that you do get.
Thanks, Sarah.
No problem, Emma.
So now we have Kate Scannell, Kate McConnell. We have two Kates here today. We have Kate McConnell, who's a manager in our financial services advisory team.
Thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Kate. So I'm working on the financial service advisory team. I started here in Grant Thornton last year in April. So previous to this, I would have worked in AIB for 8 years, and so I made the change now last year, and it's a fantastic change. So just within what we do in financial service advisory, so we're broken down into 7 service lines: so restructuring, quantitative risk, consultant, prudential risk, aviation, business risk services, and actual advisory. So I work within the business risk services team. So on our team, we in a nutshell, we help financial institutions manage their risks. So we provide a lot of services there. It's a great culture on the team, and yes, it's a really good place to work. So within our FSA, we have over 350 staff. We're one of Ireland's largest service advisory practices in Ireland. So our main objective is we are collaborative and solution focused specialists, and we work on a global scale. And when you come on to our next slide here, you can see then some of the companies that we get to work with. So we work with the likes of AIB, An Post, Aer Lingus, JPM Morgan. So it's a broad range of service lines, but it's a great area to get into and get experience.
Thanks, Kate. So now we have Danielle Kay, who is an associate director in our tax team.
Thanks, Emma. I might just do something similar to Sarah, just to give a bit of a background about myself. So my name is Danielle Kay, and I'm an associate director on the financial services tax team within tax in GT. I studied business and law in college and decided to go down the tax route because I liked the business side and the legal side. And I went on, I did my chartered accounting qualification and then also the chartered tax exam. So I have the dual qualification. I trained in another professional services firm for a number of years, and I made the move to GT about 2 years ago, so just before COVID. So we have about 250 people in tax in total across all of Ireland, and we're split up into a number of teams within tax. So we have corporate tax, So within corporate tax, you would have two teams there, the international tax team and then my team, which is the financial services tax team. So we're predominantly corporation tax channels, but we just have a different client base. So my client base would actually be very similar to Sarah's. So you're talking about aircraft leasing entities, special purpose vehicles, insurance clients, banking clients, fintech, cryptocurrency, and real estate as well. And then the other team would be the international tax team. So their client base might be more tech companies or pharma. The next team will be the transactions team. So the transactions team will deal with a lot of succession planning with Irish Indigenous companies, so big domestic clients. Then we have a VAT team. So the VAT team are VAT specialists, but they focus across all sectors. We also have a personal tax team, so high net worth individuals that we do their tax returns for and tax advisory work. We have a financial counselling team, so they would help with a lot of pension planning for employees of companies as well. And then we also have a big company law and payroll team. So this is our COSEC team. So it's all dealing with all our filings at the company's house and operating payroll for a number of companies. You can move on to the next slide. Thanks, Emma. So this slide just gives a bit of an overview of maybe like what my day-to-day might look like. So tax is quite dynamic, as you know, it changes every year, so it's constantly evolving, and no two clients have the same ask. So it could vary from processing a payroll on the COSEC team. A lot of due diligence work is what I would spend a lot of my time doing. So due diligence would be like an investigation into a company. So if our client was buying or selling a company, we would do an investigation on the tax status of that company. Innovation taxes, so R&D work, capital allowances, so research and development. We would do compliance work, so the tax returns, that means, as well as tax advisory work. So it's numbers based and words based, I would say. When you work in tax, it's a bit of both. Mergers and acquisitions, so that goes inside with the type of due diligence work, so advising on the most tax efficient structure, if somebody is merging or acquiring a structure or equally disposing of a structure. And then a lot of revenue audit work. So unfortunately, revenue are there and they do like to ask questions. So we would have a specialist team there that would deal with revenue audits. So it's quite a niche specialist area as well. So it's quite a broad, it's a broad day. Like you get a mix of everything every day, a bit of compliance, a bit of consultancy, transaction works. So your day is very varied. And I think there's just one more slide, Emma. So what makes us different? So I would say GT Tax is very different in that we would have really good relationships with our FSA colleagues as well as our audit colleagues. So a lot of my clients and, for example, Sarah's clients, we would cross over. So Sarah would do the audit and I would do the tax work on those clients. So it's different because we don't work in a silo. We don't just work with people within tax. I more so work with the people outside of my tax team because they're doing another service line for that client. As I mentioned before, so tax is always evolving. Every year it changes with the budget and the finance bill. So it's a fast-paced environment and you have to be adaptable to change, is what I would say when you work in tax, and a lot of development. So like I never stop learning, even though I have my tax qualification, I never stop learning because it does change every year. So you have to keep on top of it. And then our client base is so broad. So as I said, it can range from a high net worth Irish individual to a big pillar bank in Ireland to a Chinese aviation client. So although I'm Irish tax qualified, I actually liaise with our offices a good bit across the network on my due diligence work. So the structure might have Ireland, but it also has every other country in it. So we've got a really good relationship with their network firms. So I would liaise a good bit with Canada, Lux, and the UK, and Cayman actually as well. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of what tax is like in GT.
Thanks, Danielle. So now we have Louise Roddy, who's manager in our Financial Accounting and Advisory Services Department, which is also known as FAS.
Thanks, Emma. So probably to give a bit of background about myself, my name's Louise. I actually also attended DKIT. I graduated in 2017 from the Accounting and Finance course, so it's really nice to come back and see everyone. So yeah, just to talk through FAS, FAS is a really, really diverse department. We have so many different services that we provide to our clients. So we work primarily with US multinationals or just large multinational companies who would have a presence in various regions or jurisdictions globally. They would typically have a finance function in one jurisdiction, for example, in the US or Ireland or the UK, and they would do all of their accounting for those jurisdictions there. So they don't have any in-country accountants. So that's kind of where we come in to make sure that they're being compliant in all those local countries. So we would deal very much so with the global network as well. On a day-to-day basis, I could deal with 25 different local offices. So I suppose where I sit on the team, I'm manager in the GCRS team, so the Global Compliance and Reporting Solutions. So kind of what we do a lot here would be the preparation of financial statements for multiple jurisdictions. We have expertise to prepare the FS for the likes of Spain, Germany, France, Ireland, the UK, a number of APAC countries as well. And if we don't prepare them in-house, then we would liaise with our member firms in those countries. A lot of the work that we would do as well would be, say, preparation of bridge files is where we might get a TP in US GAAP, and we'd have to post adjustments to make sure it's compliant locally in whatever jurisdiction we're preparing. We would also work a lot with local tax compliance on both indirect and direct tax and any other in-country kind of regulatory compliance. So we deal with such a broad range of clients too. So my personal portfolio would be kind of telecommunications, investment funds, fintech, other online platforms as well. So it's really, really diverse. In GCRS as well, we act as kind of like a single point of contact for all of our clients. So instead of a client, say, dealing with potentially 50 different member firms, everything comes centrally through us and we manage it all here in Dublin. Then we've got the audit and accounting advisory team. So they would perform global statutory audits for multinationals as well. And they perform all the audit work here in Ireland and work with member firms to make sure that, you know, the entity is compliant in that jurisdiction. They'd also advise all their clients on, say, complex accounting solutions and, you know, kind of provide technical accounting advice on difficult transactions, etc. So similar to GCRS as well, the team would operate as a single point of contact through the Centre of Excellence, and all the work is performed and managed centrally here in Ireland as well. Then we've got the business process outsourcing, which is also known as BPO. So this is an interesting one as well because it is essentially an industry role within practice. So we could say outsource a team to a client to perform, you know, routine GL accounting work, and they basically become an extension to the client's accounting function. So it could be really suitable where the client may be a new startup and might not have the resources in-house to do this themselves yet. Typical activities there could be recording accounts receivable, payable, and kind of controllership. So taking on the responsibility of particular entities and, you know, booking month-end journals and doing reconciliations for the client. Then we've got the effective financial reporting service line, which is also known as EFR. So this can be kind of similar at times to BPO, where we could outsource members of our team to a client. However, instead of being kind of for more routine work, it's typically to kind of assist in a project. So maybe with transitions or implementations of new systems, or even just for interim staffing. So for example, if a client was moving their finance function from one jurisdiction into Ireland, we could assist with the transition in the first instance. And yet the majority of this team would have practical industry experience. Then we've got the Global Payroll Solutions, which is really a growing team. It is slightly separate to other service lines, as typically the team members there would have payroll qualifications rather than the likes of ACA or ACCA. So this team would centrally manage kind of the global payroll processing for multinational companies as well. And similar to the likes of GCRS and audit, it would follow a similar structure where everything's managed through a single point of contact here in Ireland. I think you can move on, Emma. So yeah, as I mentioned, we do service primarily large multinational companies with the focus on a centralised approach to delivery. We do have a really, really diverse team as well in the FAS department. So we've got a range of nationalities. We've got about 200 people and 28 different nationalities in the team. As well, like the department is growing so much. So say when I started here in my training contract in 2017, we had 4 graduates join, and this year we're looking upwards of taking on 40 graduates. So the team is getting really, really big now. And yet the experience here is really great.
Thanks, Louise.
Thanks, Emma.
So now we have Kate Scannell, who is a senior consultant in our business consulting team, which is within advisory.
Great, thanks so much, Emma. Thank you all as well for having us today. My name is Kate. I'm based in the Cork office. I think I'm flying the flag here myself for the People's Republic. So I'm based in Cork, as I said. We also have a business consulting function in Dublin, Galway, and Limerick. So we just recently started to expand to the west. So we've got 34 people based in Cork, which is great, seeing as when I started, I was number 7, I think, in the door. So I started in April 2019 as a extension of my master's. I was doing a placement as part of my master's, and GT got their hooks into me, and I haven't wanted to leave since. So I did a BCom degree in UCC and then a master's in food business and innovation, and then which led to the placement with consulting. So if you just want to flick on there, Emma, thank you. So I suppose what makes our consulting team different, we work with both global and listed organizations. So some of my colleagues have had the very lucky opportunity to work with clients based in Belgium. A few of them went to Houston, Paris, as well as the Netherlands. You can also gain experience across numerous industries, from technology services to healthcare, which I think was a big draw in for me when I graduated, having such a, I suppose, a broad degree from a BCom to a master's in food business. I had kind of, you know, the whole master, or was it master of, or a jack of all trades, master of none, where I didn't have, I suppose, any particular specific experience like you would with accounting or audit or tax. So the consulting team is great for graduates if you might not know exactly what it is you want to do once you finish college. And then the last part about what makes us different is working on client side and gaining essential operational skills. So I think in my first 3 months working with Grant Thornton, I was sent out to a pig farm, which is not something I had anticipated, but it was still a great opportunity nonetheless. Perfect, thanks, Emma. So our consulting offerings, I suppose, similar to what I was previously saying, our service offerings are quite broad, and we work with a huge range of clients as well, from healthcare to telecommunications, energy and clean tech. We have quite a broad range of clients, which I think lends itself to our broad range of service offerings. We can kind of work with any client in any sector. So our key service offerings are finance transformation, where we might go into an organization, look at their financial processes and see if there are any ways where they can improve their financial processes. Supply chain management, where we'll look at streamlining processes within the supply chain, kind of logistics and distribution and demand planning. Strategic planning, we often help clients, particularly government bodies, write 10 or 5-year strategic plans, which are always very interesting projects. Within our change management service offering, we help clients prepare and equip for any sort of large-scale change that they might be experiencing, whether it be merging with another company or separating from another company. With our economic advisory team, we do a lot of cost-benefit analysis. Operational excellence kind of focuses on business process reviews and designing target operating models for various organizations. And then our kind of bread and butter is project and program management. So I suppose our largest client within project and program management is the HSE, who I've been engaged with since I started. So I've kind of come from an agri-food business background to working with bed management and COVID reporting for the last 2 to 3 years, which has been a totally different, I suppose, to what my experience would have lent itself to. And I think that's my last slide, Emma, I think, is it?
Yeah, that's it.
Perfect, thank you.
Thanks, Kate. So now I'm just going to go through some of the benefits that we offer if you join us as a graduate or as a summer intern. So the Academy is something that you will hear about a lot if you join us as a graduate or intern. So the Academy is our targeted learning and development centre. So you would receive technical training and skill sessions in the Academy. You'd also receive access to LinkedIn Learning as a graduate or an intern. and you'll be part of a buddy system. So that's great when you join because you get ongoing feedback and coaching. As part of the summer internship program, we do offer a cross-departmental project as part of the program. So you get the opportunity to work with other interns who are working in other areas in Grant Thornton on a project together. So it's really nice because although you do choose what area you want to work in your internship, you will get to, work with the other interns who are in other areas as well. So it's great to, meet other people and learn about the other areas that they're working in as well. So what's in it for you to join us? So as I mentioned, we have the Academy with targeted learning and development activities. We have state-of-the-art facilities. So in our Dublin office, we have a gym, and in all of our other offices, we offer restaurants. So if you join us as a summer intern, you will get a 3 o'clock finish in summers, and you'll get a 3 o'clock finish on Fridays because the internship runs in the summer. Your days will be structured to allow for that. However, as a graduate, you can also avail of that. You just have to get it approved by your manager. So we offer a hybrid working policy. I don't know if you can tell today, but I'm actually in the office. Some people I'm sure who presented today are at home. So again, your working model will be agreed with your manager when you join us. It would depend on the client and business needs. We also offer funded social events and a wellness program. So lastly, I'd just like to touch on our summer internship program. So our summer internship program is a fantastic opportunity to kickstart your career. So it will give you an insight into what a graduate career with us would be like, and also give you an insight into our culture. So as I mentioned, you'd receive training in the academy, you'd work on the cross-departmental project with other interns. It's an opportunity to meet and talk to senior management, so you can be working with other interns, your manager, directors and partners. There's opportunities across all 5 of our service lines. And in terms of locations, so we offer the summer internship program in our Dublin and Kildare offices, and this year for the first time we're also offering it in our Cork and Galway offices, so that's really exciting. There's one link to apply for our Dublin, Kildare and Cork opportunities and a separate one for the Galway opportunities, but I can circulate that to you all after. The internship program is 5 weeks and it's paid. I'm happy to take any questions that anyone has now.
Hi, my name is Lara.
Hi, Lara.
Hi, I'm international student. There is any chance for international student?
Yeah, definitely. If you apply for the internship program and the graduate, just to mention on the graduate roles as well, because that might be of interest to you depending what year you're in. I just wanted to mention, which you remind me of that now, we will be reopening for our 2022 graduate program in March. So if you're also interested in a graduate role, Lara, please do apply. It'll be advertised on our LinkedIn and on our website. So if you follow us on LinkedIn, you will see that there, and you'll have the opportunity to apply then.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Yeah, we'd encourage anybody else who's got a particular question to come through.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry, I could.
Hi, I'm a second year student. My name is Yusuf. Just a question for Sarah. With regards to audit, how has the on-site stuff been affected, or has that not changed just following guidelines?
Yeah, well, look, it absolutely has changed, and I suppose it's a little bit different in corporate audit than it is for financial services audit. So I suppose from financial services audit, we might deal with an administrators who we would deal with, and they might have 100 clients, and they deal with all of the audit firms. So they never had room for us to be on site, to be honest, and they didn't want to see us. So a lot of it runs through technology now. We have really increased our technology capabilities. We were already getting there, but then with COVID, it just the investment was huge. So technology is key for us, and there's sort of like real-time platforms that we now use to communicate, and sort of like instant messaging, and they can kind of see exactly where the audit is. In terms of corporate audit, it does depend on the client, right? So some of the clients will say, well, we're going to have everybody back in the office on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and if that's the case, then that's what you would do as well. So you would go in, but generally we're kind of seeing that even some of our more stubborn clients have embraced technology a lot more, and they realize that they don't need to see us necessarily ready to give us the information that we need. So it is there's definitely been a shift, and I'm kind of interested to see how the next year goes in terms of, you know, like, you know, will that stick, or will people kind of tend to go back a little bit more to seeing people in person? But I think time will tell on it. But I do think that there is more of an appreciation that, you know, you don't necessarily have to be in the room to have these conversations. And, you know, even kind of look at here now, you know, we can all see each other, and, you know, whereas before it was only kind of phone calls, you just knew somebody by their voice. Now it's great that you can kind of see people.
Would you say you prefer it like that, or do you prefer, you know, the on-site stuff and meeting up with clients?
Do you know what it is? It's I suppose it depends on the level that you're at. You know, like our offices out there today, you know, are busy, and it's great to see people kind of, you know, collaborating together again. And I really don't think that there's a I personally think that it is important to have that connection with people, and really that's something that sort of kept me with Grant Thornton all of these years, is that I felt like, you know, at the beginning when we were much smaller, I felt like I was kind of coming in as part of a family, whereas now it's more of a community, and I do think that, you know, your connection is key. So the work is one piece, you know, the work has to be done, but, you know, in order for you to get on well in your job, and, you know, to progress and to build those relationships with your colleagues and your clients, I think the personal touch is needed. It will be my sense of it. But I'm very much welcoming the two sides of it, you know, to stay at home for a couple of days and kind of get through some of the work, and then to have a day or two in the office where you can kind of reconnect with people, and you know, hear what's going on as well. So, you know, it's very easy to get stuck in your own little silo, whereas, you know, I think if you know, it was mad, you know, when COVID first hit, we were like, geez, we can stay at home forever, this is brilliant. Who needs to go to the office? And, you know, like now that we're kind of 2 years in, it's sort of, I think we're all starved for that interaction again. So you know, I think it depends on who you're talking to, but I definitely like the mix of both, and I'm probably a little bit more on the side of that kind of personal communication.
Okay, thanks for that. I do have more questions, but I'd like to let other people, you know, ask questions, and I can come back later.
You can come back, yeah. We might be bringing you back in quicker than you thought.
No one's got questions, or?
There's some practical questions I think might be useful in terms of applications for the summer internship. Emma, if you want to just talk about what maybe students should be putting on their application forms, their CVs, that type of thing, what should they be highlighting?
Yeah, so for me anyway, I think an important thing just to note, and it might sound silly, but just double check your email address and your mobile number on your application. Some people, you know, if there's one little error and I can't reach you, I don't know why, you know, it makes it very difficult then. And then in terms of the application, so the application is through our online system called Workday. So just make sure to attach your CV as well. Some people forget to attach their CV, and then I can't process their, you know, application accordingly. Also, there is some questionnaire questions that pop up when you are applying. So like my advice there would be do fill out the questionnaire results. There's some questions at the end, like just asking like why you want to work for us or something like that. Or I would just say do fill those out. Some people don't fill those out, and, you know, my advice would be maybe do a bit of research into GT, or even if it's any other company, you know, do a bit of research into the company that you're looking to work in. It'll also give you the option to select the service line that you're interested in. So I'd say obviously as well, do some research into the service line and try and apply that into your application form. I think that really helps you to stand out, that you're interested and you've done research, you know. I just want to say as well, you don't necessarily have to have accounting experience to get a role in any of the accounting areas. If you're interested in the area and you show that you're interested, you know, that's what matters most. I don't know if anyone else wants to say anything relevant to their service line, but that's just for me personally.
Yeah, I think think that covers it really, Emma. And I suppose the background is key as well, that you don't have to have an accounting background. You know, you do learn, particularly in the graduate programs as well. You know, you learn everything from scratch. Everyone starts off not knowing anything at all. So sometimes it's better not to know some things, because, you know, you don't have this kind of preconceived idea of what you're kind of coming into as well. And I think, yeah, the research on who you're applying to is important, and remembering who you're applying to at that particular point in time, because you know, I have had a few instances where, you know, oh, it's been my dream to work for PwC. Not great. So just attention to detail. Just have a quick little look over it and make sure that you are you remember which link you're in, I suppose, is another.
Agreed.
I suppose, if I may ask a question, I suppose this question is addressed to all of our GT guests. What do you look for in an intern or a graduate? What are the qualities, the key qualities that you would look for, and that maybe differentiate between one applicant and another applicant?
I'll go first. So maybe GT is a really, really fast growing firm. So I feel like we all have the same common goal of growth. So we would always look for people with a heads up approach, is how we would describe it. So your head up, making sure you're asking the questions, getting immersed in like the day-to-day listening. And it kind of echoes Sarah's point about being in the office. When I was a trainee, I was in the office every day. So that's how I learned, by overhearing conversations. So I think it's really important that, like, if you're in the office, that you are actually listening to what's going on around you. Maybe even in the interview. So again, as we've already said, we would not expect anybody to have any technical capabilities at all. The interview is not about that. It's just about having a chat, showing off your personality, and just talking through your CV, talking through the modules that you're completing in your course. If you have a part-time job, any responsibilities around that. So it's really just, it's a conversation. It's not an interrogation. It's a conversation to see if we're the right fit for you, as well as you being the right fit for us. It's a symbiotic relationship. So it's showing off who you are as a person, to see if we're the right fit for you and you're the right fit for us.
I think a big thing as well to add to that would definitely be enthusiasm, and being really, really enthusiastic in the interview. And yeah, doing your research about the department you're applying for, and, you know, what interests you about that department. And yeah, as Danielle mentioned, even any work experience you have, like, you know, if you work in a restaurant or anything, I think people kind of forget how transferable some of those skills are into the accounting profession. So, you know, don't hesitate to speak about that, because it'll always be transferable over.
Yeah,
If you're told the person that's interviewing you as well, I would always actually look up their LinkedIn. So we actually love to see that. Like, say if I have an interview scheduled and somebody, I said, oh, they viewed my LinkedIn. So it shows interest. It shows they want to know maybe what my background is, maybe to find some common ground in the interview, or know what questions to ask me maybe. So that's always just a little tip as well.
Yeah, I think I'd echo all of that. And I think even if you don't have any, like, we'd have a lot of people coming in who, you know, don't have work experience, and they haven't worked in it you know, in the local shop or in the local pub or anything, but are involved in you know, their local GAA club, and, you know, whatever, and all of that is transferable. You know, it's all about teamwork, and, you know, that you have a passion for something. And I think what I would look at as well is, for Grant Thornton, and I really would go back to Danielle's point around the fit. The fit is so important. And I think have a look at the goals, or not the values of where you're looking to come into, and if they kind of resonate with you, you know, bring that up as well, because I think that's really important for us, you know, particularly for a graduate program. If you're coming in 3.5 years, you know, in somewhere, you know, it honestly, it goes in the blink of an eye in one sense, but if you're not enjoying it and you don't feel that you're in the right place, it's a long time as well. So I think the fit for you is as important for the fit for us. So I think that's what you want to bring into the interview with you.
Thank you very much.
That's great. I mean, I if we had asked you to say these things, you've ticked so many of the boxes in terms of what we say from careers perspective of what to look at, and it's great to hear that that is exactly what the company Grant Thornton are saying themselves, and this is across all job seeking and all, you know, from every perspective. I think there has been a great turnout in terms of online attendance today, and I know upstairs in the room upstairs there's another gang of people. There may be more questions, and I'm wondering. Very good, Anthony.
Oh, that's nice.
And maybe if there is a question there, Anthony, that anyone particular wants to ask, so maybe they don't have access to a microphone, maybe you could feel that through to us or put it into the chat. But I'm wondering if there are any specific questions that people have. Emma, would it be yourself that maybe people could email around that, and maybe if there's any follow-up in relation to this?
Yeah, definitely, Catherine. If you want to circulate my email address and the links to the summer internship program, that's absolutely, they can email me, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions. And if you have, I'm sure if you have any questions specific, oh, sorry, the closing date for the internship is the end of February. So I think it's 28 days this month. So yeah, the 28th of February. You never know in February. So yeah, even if you have any specific questions for anyone who presented today, I'm sure I can circulate the question to you, or I'm sure they'd be happy if you reached out to them directly as well. But yeah.
Great. Well, look, I'll leave one more opportunity for maybe one more question, and I'm aware that people may want to grab a sandwich or something else before they head back to work. But so I'll leave a space, but maybe as a just a comment from myself, and I'm sure Shane will echo me on this. Delighted to have such an engaging conversation with you today around your opportunities, about the summer internship and those graduate opportunities that are reopening again. So any of our final year students who want to apply for that, just to urge that. So a huge thank you to yourself, Emma, to Danielle, to Cork Kate and Dublin Kate, and our very own alumni, Sarah and Louise. Thank you very much for that. It was great to get that insight. So just maybe one more chance if anybody else has a burning question, we might throw it open now.
Just one question before they finish up. In terms of like the company culture, what is there stuff that you do where you have like meetups, or is it on a smaller scale, or is there stuff that you do at GT that you know, you guys enjoy or do outside of work?
Yeah, I think every department runs their own differently, is what I'd say. So at the moment we are doing a steps challenge, some sort of like fitness challenge for all of February, which is interesting, considering we're in busy season. So I have my skipping rope with me. So I'm going to go down to the gym at lunchtime and try and get some steps in. But you know, like, I mean, I suppose like this is a very different question, you know, to pre-COVID and post-COVID, isn't it really? You know, in terms of like we are only kind of getting back to normal. Generally we would have, you know, big Christmas parties, big summer barbecues, like exams are obviously a massive, you know, we're a young company, you know, in terms of our profile of employees. So the graduates are always doing exams, so the exam night would always be a big night, your FAE night would always be a big night. So, you know, there's all of those achievements that are always marked. We do a lot with CSR days and things like that. We've just planted a tree for every employee in you know, in the country, including our Isle of Man office. So I thought that was really nice. And so there's a lot of CSR things, and there's like the GT 5K, which is ran in September, kind of August, September every year. So there's a lot, and you know, and like that, and then each team will do different things. Actually, my team are out now at a buddy lunch. So the new graduates have come in, and some of them have kind of, you know, met their buddies in person, and they're gone out over to the Harbour Master for lunch. So, you know, there are things all of the time basically, but every team runs differently. And then I suppose on top of that, then you'll have your department will have certain things, and then the firm will have certain things as well. But absolutely, it's important to, like, one of our values, if you go onto our website, one of our core values is fun. So I don't think you can get the engagement and the passion that we have for our work without also balancing it with the fun element too.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
great. And there was just one question that came in, and I suppose it is something that is on students' minds when they are applying. It's around academic requirement or academic achievement, whether applying for the summer internship program or graduate schemes. Is there a particular sort of standard that you're looking for, or maybe any insight into that aspect?
Well, in terms of academic requirement, I think it will kind of vary depending on the service line, really. I just want to reiterate about the whole course thing, if you don't have an accounting background, please don't let that, make you feel like you can't apply for an accounting role. We take people from such a huge diverse range of disciplines, and I think that's what makes our culture and our team so great, is that everyone has different backgrounds that they can contribute to together. But in terms of specific, I don't know if anyone else wants to add in on that, but I think the specific requirements can vary depending on the service line, really.
I'd probably just add as well. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, sorry, Danielle, you work for it.
Some people may worry about leaving cert points as well. Like the leaving cert isn't for everyone, and then we totally see that when they go to college they really flourish because you're studying something that you like. So I wouldn't worry about if you have what you perceive as a good or a bad leaving cert. It's about, like as Sarah said, it's all the other attributes as well. Like, do you have a part-time job? Have you worked in a team? Do you play sport? You're volunteering. It's an all-rounded. It's not just percentages or marks. It's an all-rounded what you can bring to a team, not just academics.
And I'd just like to echo as well what Emma just said about experience too, maybe more so specific to consulting, but on our team, like I've come from a food business background, we do have people with an accounting background, we've occupational therapists, radiation therapists, people from the construction and energy sector as well. So kind of similar to what Danielle's saying, it's more about you as a person as a whole, as opposed to any sort of like specific academic requirement too.
We're the same in tax as well. We've people from music degrees, your traditional BCom degree, or we've people from food science as well. Like, so it's all different backgrounds, because you have an insight into a different industry. I just have a business and law degree, but we like it's diversity within the team from an academics perspective and a personality perspective, that makes the team work. So it's like, if we're all the same, it'd be boring. So
I'd like to echo that one as well. Like, even here in the FAS team, we had a graduate who was a fully qualified nurse for 5 or 6 years and decided to go back and do accounting. She went through the graduate program. So, like even that in the FAS team, the backgrounds, never has to be in accounting.
That's great, and I suppose it does lean into what we talk about here, is that your degree is more than just its title. It's a suite of skills, and you're also bringing your own experiences. So great to hear that. So widely, I suppose, supported by Grant Thornton, because I know it can be, and Danielle mentioning the leaving cert thing is important to hear as well, because we do know that with other opportunities can be quite a big barrier. So it's great to see that Grant Thornton do support students who are progressing well within their degree, and not just relying on the leaving cert as the sole determinant of how you get on in your career. I think
popped in a question. Sorry, I'll just answer that quickly.
Yes, sure.
Will no relevant job experience in the field affect my chances of getting summer internship program? Absolutely not. The best thing about the summer internship program is that it allows you to have the opportunity to see what the field is like, and after the summer internship program, it'll help you totally decide whether you do want to pursue a career in that field, or maybe, from speaking with other interns in other areas, you decided, oh no, I'm actually maybe more interested in that other field. So that's the best thing about the summer internship program. It's an opportunity for you to get experience in a field and learn from that. And same with graduate program as well. I just want to say that you don't have to have experience in the relevant field at all. So yeah, sorry. I know people probably have to go to class. Just wanted to touch on that.
It's an important one. It's great. I think we leave it at that. It was really great to hear from each of you, to get insight into those terms we hear around, audit, financials, all the different sections, and being able to give an insight into that was so great for sharing your own personal stories as well. I think has been really helpful to students to be able to connect maybe their particular experience to what your own journey has been. So thank you for that. As always, I will say to all of our students who are tuning in, the Careers and Employability Centre is here to support you, to help you with your preparation with your CVs, for interview, for finding out more about the sector itself. So do make sure that you connect with us. Go on Wanted Careers Connect, where opportunities and where you can book appointments are available. And thanks also to Shane and the whole, I suppose, business school for their support of this particular event, and to my own team here, to Anthony and Sandra for their support in the event today. I suppose just get ready, Emma, for your inbox to be flooded with DKIT applicants, and we look forward to seeing some more of our alumni in future calls in the future.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Catherine and Shane and Tony and Sandra, for having us. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. That was great.
Thanks so much.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Have a good day.
Bye all. Take care.